Boys and girls, today we are going to get started again with our War with Grandpa book. So please turn to page, let me pin my video here so it's full screen. Go to the table of contents of the War with Grandpa. Go to the table of contents so we could get going here in case some of you missed it. We have been talking about character beliefs. Character beliefs. And when we get to know the character, we start to find out, we start to understand a little bit about what the character, why the character does what he does. So the last couple weeks, or the last couple days, we have been looking at how what Grandpa and what they have gone through in their lifetime. We looked at the differences between how Grandpa, he's been in many, many wars. Grandpa has been he went through the Great Depression. Compared to Peter's never really been through anything hard in his life. And so Grandpa thinks that Peter is very, very spoiled. And we are watching and seeing the fight continue between Peter and Grandpa. Peter has sent out his second attack on his grandpa. The second attack was that he stole his slippers. First attack was that he set an alarm at 3 a.m. to wake his grandpa up in the middle of the night, and so he can be tired and exhausted the next day. And then the second attack, after they couldn't come up with a truce, the second attack after that was Peter stealing his grandpa's slippers. So go ahead and go to the table of contents. Let me change my view here. Okay, here in the table of contents, let me make this bigger so you can see. And focus it. There we go. Okay, so yesterday was 1/19/21, day 16. We're inferring character beliefs. Today we're going to finish that because yesterday we did not have time. We're going to finish that and then we're going to move on to the next day. Okay, so meet me on page. We are on page in the War with Grandpa. We are on page 68. 68. So right now, here in this part of the story, Peter and his friends are talking about what is going on with him and Grandpa. Okay. Grandpa got up, he went to go look for his slippers. He couldn't find his slippers. And then he went to go talk to Peter, of course. And then he looked in his closet and they were there. So Peter did not do a very good job of hiding those slippers. So Grandpa said that they are going to talk about it tomorrow. And now Peter is now talking to his friends, and he is telling his friends about how his enemy, he is going to war against Grandpa, but Grandpa, before he left, he kissed him on his forehead and told him good night. And then Peter's like, I just got kissed by my enemy. And so now that's what him and his friends, Billy, and what's the other friend's name? I forget. Steve. Billy and Steve are now kind of making fun of Peter. So let's continue reading here. We're on page 68. And they are telling him, well, your grandpa is trying to out-nice you. He's trying to be so nice that you want to stop the war. So let's continue here. Grandpa is trying to out-nice you, Steve said. But he is nice, I said. There you are. He's got you believing it already. Wait a minute, I said. Something's wrong here. Yeah, you are, Billy said. It's very simple, said Steve as we entered the store. You start a war. Grandpa doesn't want to fight, so he just tries to be so darn nice to you that you'll forget about the whole thing and call off the war. Isn't that it? No, I said. He's just a good, sweet man who loves me a lot. So he forgave me stealing his slippers and let me know by kissing me. That wasn't too bright, leaving his slippers in your closet, Billy said. You should have thrown them in the trash. I'd never do that, I said. Or burn them, Billy said. You can't burn slippers, I said. Positively Machiavellian, Steve said. He picked up a shopping basket. What's a macchia? What you said? Billy asked. Machiavelli. Machiavelli. He was an old Italian prince, Steve said. He figured out all the moves you can make on an enemy a long time ago. I'll bet your grandpa knows all about him. Steve put a spiral bound notepad and a pack of index cards into the basket. He's not that way, I protested. Grandpa is just a great guy, that's all. Steve gave me one of those all-knowing looks of his as if he were talking to a bird brain. Never underestimate your enemy, he said. Sometimes I have to say this about my friend Steve. Sometimes for a guy who is a great brain and all, he can be very dumb. So what are you going to do next? Billy asked. Probably nothing, Steve said. You're both wrong, I said. I'll do something. I still want my room back. Can you put a lock on the door so he can't get in? Billy wanted to know. No, I said. Steve took a 10-pack of ballpoint pens and put it into his basket. I'll tell you what I think, he said. I think the war is over and you've lost. We are in chapter 22. Chapter 22. The title of this chapter is Slap Shot. Chapter 22, Slap Shot. When I came out on the porch after lunch, Grandpa was waiting. Let's meander, he said to me. I figured we have some talking to do. What about your leg? Well, Grandpa said, it's still attached to my body. I mean, doesn't it hurt when you walk a lot? Petey, he said, it hurts when I walk and also when I don't walk. So maybe I ought to get some exercise in. And what the heck with the leg. We began to walk toward Beverly Road, the shopping street a few blocks away. Is this a flag of truce? I asked. There you go again with that war business, Grandpa said. Forget that. I'm not forgetting, I said. I declared war on you, and I mean it. Pish tosh, Grandpa said. I didn't know what that meant exactly, but I kind of got the idea. This isn't a war, he said. It's a disagreement, maybe even a dispute. And what you're doing is starting a family feud. It is to a war, I insisted. You moved in and took over my territory, didn't you? Isn't that what wars are about? No, said Grandpa. Wars are about power and greed and getting back what's yours, I said. So, boys and girls, what do you think Grandpa believes in when he says that war is about power and greed? War is about power and greed. What do you think? See, he doesn't believe that we should be having wars, especially with our own family. So this makes me think that Grandpa believes that disagreements. I want us to go to page to our infer character beliefs page, page 13. We're on page 13 here. Okay. Grandpa believes that going to war, we already wrote this down on yesterday, going to war with Peter is the wrong thing to do. Grandpa does not believe that going to war with his grandson is the right thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the next thing. He just said this. So I want you to write it under Grandpa Jack, because this is Grandpa Jack we're talking about. Grandpa Jack believes that war, write this down. War is about power and greed. Period. Grandpa believes that war is about power and greed. So he does not, we already know that he doesn't think that he should have a war with his grandson. We already know that. But now he's telling us a little bit more. He is telling us that war is about power and greed. But Peter is not listening. So let's continue to read here on the bottom of page 71. What happens next? Grandpa stopped walking, and I stopped too. His eyes seemed so hard and cold when they looked at me. So you think war is perfectly okay? He said, is that about it? Sometimes, I said. Like when? When you have to stick up for your rights, I said. So there we go again. Peter is saying, boys and girls, that he has to stick up for his rights. So now what are we thinking that Peter believes? Peter believes, let's write this down. Now we're going to go to Peter's side. Now we're going to move on to Peter's side. This is Peter we're talking about now. Peter believes, skip a line. Peter believes that war is okay. War is okay when you have to stick up for your rights. That's what Peter believes. He believes that war is okay. He believes that war is okay when you have to stick up for your rights. That's what he believes. So everyone should be writing this down in their reading notebook. Everyone should be writing this down. So thank you for writing this down. He believes that war is okay when you have to stick up for your rights. Okay. Let's keep reading. Grandpa does not seem very happy right now, but let's see what happens next. Sorry, let me move it up. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you can see that clearly. Grandpa's mouth made a thin line as he shook his head. That's wrong, Petey. There are lots of ways of settling arguments without going to war, peaceful ways. I tried that with my parents. It didn't work. That's why I had to go to war with you. Wrong, Grandpa said. Not wrong, I said back to him. You took my room. Next page, page 72. Uh-oh. Check out this picture. They're having a little bit of a disagreement, aren't they, right now? Okay, let's keep reading. Listen, Pete, Grandpa said slowly. The only time you have to fight a war is when someone attacks you. Then and only then you have a right to defend yourself. You got that? I thought about that for no more than a second. Wasn't I attacked? I said. Didn't they yank me out of my room and shove me away upstairs like I was some old chair or something? Grandpa sighed and I looked away for a minute. I could see he was upset. It's just like Risk, I said. Someone invades your territory, you zap them. I felt Grandpa's bony hand on my arm. War is no game, Petey, he said. Only kids and fools and generals think that. You're my enemy, I said in a loud voice, and I want what's mine. I shook his hand off my arm. You marched in here like an army and kicked me out of whack. Grandpa's right hand came whipping out of nowhere and he slapped me hard across my cheek. I was so shocked and surprised, I couldn't say anything. My cheek felt hot and burning. It hurt. Why did you hit me? I said. I had tears in my eyes, but I didn't cry. War hurts, Grandpa said. War wounds. Next page. And kills and causes misery. Only a fool wants war. I stared into Grandpa's brown eyes that looked so mean to me now. I won't forget this, I said. That's the idea. And I won't forgive it either. From now on, we're really at war. I turned away and started back to the house, walking as fast as I could. I left Grandpa on the street, calling my name. Wow, 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 wow. Boys and girls, can you believe that Peter's sweet old grandpa just slapped him across the face, slapped him on his cheek, and now the war is really on. The war is really on. Peter just got slapped across the face by his sweet old grandpa. But Grandpa had a reason for that. Grandpa did that on purpose because he is trying to teach Peter. War hurts. War kills. War causes misery. That's what Grandpa is trying to teach Peter. Peter does not understand what he is doing. And now Peter is upset. Peter is running back to his house and his grandpa is calling his name. But we have to write this down. This is important. This is so important because this is what Grandpa believes. Grandpa believes that war hurts, period. War wounds and kills and causes misery. Only a fool wants war. That's from page 74. So I want us to write this down under Grandpa. Under Grandpa here, I want us to skip a line. I'm going to have to write really small because I want it to fit on this page. And I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 or 5 lines that I have to fit this in. Okay, so you might have to write a little small too. Okay, Here we go. Write this down. I want you to put the quotation because this is a direct quote from the book. Okay. This is a direct quote from the book. And boys and girls, you know that when we write a direct quote, when we are borrowing the author's words, we have to put the quotation marks. If we don't put the quotation marks, that is called stealing. That's called plagiarism. I don't want you to do that. Okay. If you don't put the quotation marks and tell me where you got it from, then that is plagiarism. And you will learn very quickly, especially when we get to high school and middle school and high school and college, that that's not good. It's very, very bad to steal somebody's work. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put quotation marks and we're going to write the page number so we know how to do that. Okay, let's go. So quotations right here. Everyone's writing this down with me. Everyone's with me. Everyone has their pen and their paper and you're writing this down. War hurts. These are Grandpa's direct words. War hurts, period. War hurts, period. Again, capital W because we're starting a new sentence. War wounds. He is trying to teach Peter a lesson. War hurts. War wounds. And kills. War wounds and kills and causes misery. War wounds and kills and causes misery. Period. That's the end of that sentence. And then he said this, only a fool wants war. Only a fool wants war. Only a fool wants war. Period. Only a fool wants war. And this is where we're going to end our quote. So go ahead and end it. End the quote right there. Put the quotation mark right here to end, because that's the end of Grandpa's words. And then we're going to put the page number, page 74. That way, if someone wants to check our work, we can see, they can know exactly where we got this from. Because it's important to always be able to cite our source. To cite our source. Okay. Give you a couple more seconds to write that down. War hurts, war wounds and kills and causes misery. Only a fool wants war. Only a fool wants war. So boys and girls, we have learned so much about Peter and about Grandpa, and we have seen how different they are. We have seen how different they are. So today, I will be sending out some War with Grandpa homework. Okay, so please make sure that you do that today. I will be sending it out soon. So there is so much that has happened between Peter and Grandpa, and ultimately it led to Peter getting slapped in the face because of what him and his grandpa and what this war has caused. And what this war has caused. Tomorrow, I will see you at 10:30. I will see you at 10:30 tomorrow. Okay. For the War with Grandpa. If you look at your planner, it tells you 10:30, War with Grandpa Zoom. I should have everyone here tomorrow from 10:30 to 11. Everyone should be here. Mr. Campos is not going to send out any reminders anymore because it's on your planner. So you just need to know, Uriel, you need to know, Rebecca, you need to know, Stephanie, Kyra, you need to know that 10:30, I have a meeting with Mr. Campos. Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesdays, Thursday, Fridays, I have a meeting with Mr. Campos. Okay? Every day, except for Wednesdays, because Wednesdays we have it at 9. Good. Kyra says yes. Thank you, Kyra. Beautiful. She said yes on Zoom. Cool. I didn't know that you could answer on Zoom. That is cool, Kyra. Way to use the tools. Okay, boys and girls, have a great day. Actually, we still have to take our selfie, so don't move, but I am going to end this video. Thank you for watching. Let me end this video. Have a great day. Ta-ta!